What's up, everybody? Today I'm talking with Pat. Is it Patrick, or is that just a Skype name?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just it's Patrick.
And we're going to be talking about Skillshare. So I think a great starting place would be for you to just explain, like what you said in the Discord chat, basically, like why you're interested in Skillshare, what you're trying to do, and then maybe I can have some info that will help in some way.
Well, I'm trying to share my knowledge of what I can, and my knowledge regarding Microsoft Office programs and my knowledge of working with them. And I think it's a great platform to do that. And like I said, like the only thing that I wish is that it was more open regarding the content you can view as free.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not that much free content on Skillshare.
No,
it's easier to get a free premium account, because then then you can get everything that way. So
yeah, then it's open for everybody. But until you get that like premium account, then you only like have the intro video for the Skillshare video.
Yeah. So there are ways you can get free Skillshare accounts. So like anytime you sign up through an instructor, you can get 60 days for free. And then if you publish a course, you can get a year. The course needs to have some minimums. Like it needs to be at least 10 minutes. It needs to get at least 30 minutes of time watched by other students. So that could be like 2 students watching 15 minutes, 1 student watching 30, or 10 watching 3 minutes. Any one of those would satisfy the requirement. And then there's like one other requirement, I think, where you need to leave a review of another new student's course. But it's pretty achievable, because you don't have to make a super popular course. You just have to make a course about something, put your time and effort into it, and they reward you.
Is the minutes that is requirement to be watched, is that free minutes or premium minutes?
Premium minutes.
Premium minutes.
Uh-huh.
So you need to have like a person with a premium account to watch 30 minutes of your video.
Yeah. Or 10 different people with premium accounts to watch 3 minutes each.
Yeah, exactly.
And I found that Skillshare offers, like, it has forums and these workshops every month, right? So if you participate in these workshops, it connects you with a bunch of other teachers. So it can work really well in the beginning is identifying something that is useful specifically to these other teachers, because Skillshare gives you direct communication with them. And so what I found is that I made 5 courses on Skillshare, and one of them was just kind of an afterthought. It was how to use OBS to record video that you could use in courses or YouTube or whatever, right? And that turned into the course that is doing the best, specifically, I think, because it is exactly what other instructors on Skillshare would need in order to create courses. So I got lucky and identified something that these other instructors needed. So it easily passed that 30-minute thing. So if you can think of something that these initial group that you start with of other instructors, a problem they have or something they struggle with that you could fix using your experience with Excel and present it to them in that way, then you would easily be able to get 30 minutes.
All right, and that's the only marketing you need?
No, like Skillshare is friendlier than other platforms to not marketing. Because it's easier to kind of build yourself up by logging into Skillshare and participating in like the forums, the workshops, and talking to people. This means that you can just basically be useful to other people, and they're going to look at your profile and look at your courses. So it gives you a way to grow yourself slowly if you put in the time. And that's kind of unique because like I basically stopped creating Udemy courses because it's all about the marketing. You have to market for a Udemy course to be successful. And then maybe once you've done some marketing and you've established yourself, Udemy will push it for you. But in order to get to that point, you need something like a YouTube channel that pushed you there or something. Whereas on Skillshare, you can do everything by just going to the Skillshare website. You don't have to like leave Skillshare and try and do something else. Technically, you could just be really engaging, talk to a lot of people, make those connections, especially if you're talking to these other instructors more than just like discussing, like if you're actually interacting with each other and calling each other, then it's a really great way to establish a network really quickly. It's a whole bunch of people trying to do exactly what you're trying to do.
So you would prefer Skillshare to any other teaching online site?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
From like I have a big advantage because I have a YouTube channel, and that means that I can earn a lot more money through the referral system than somebody without an audience. But from my perspective, it's easier to start without an audience on Skillshare and get an audience that way than it is to start on Udemy without an audience or on YouTube without an audience. I mean, YouTube really, I view YouTube and Skillshare as both really, really good opportunities that basically everybody should do.
Yeah, I get it. How long have you been on Skillshare?
I started about 3 months ago. And so for my first 30 days, I did a thing where I took one Skillshare course every day and one YouTube video about Skillshare every day. And I published one course every 7 days. So in the first 30 days, I did 4 courses. And like I would like to continuously do that, but I haven't. I published one course since then, and it's been like 2 months. So,
what other platforms are you on except for Skillshare and YouTube?
Udemy. Yeah. But Udemy is where I first had a course that started earning me money, and that opened my mind to that this lifestyle was possible. But ultimately, my course is in drop shipping, which is something that is a really fluctuating subject, and the rules are kind of always changing. So when you're selling an information product in this industry, you could be earning really good money one month, but then the platform makes a change that makes everybody not interested in it anymore. And so that's what happened in my case. And I was earning like $1,600 a month from the course. And then it, over like a week, crashed to $300-400 a month.
Whoa.
So that made me be like,
it dropped like nearly, yeah, like dropped like quadruple of what you were earning.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so happy with Skillshare, is because it's still an information product, but none of my Skillshare income has anything to do with dropshipping. Like I don't have any dropshipping information on Skillshare, and it's all from YouTube work. And for me, this is really appealing because before, almost all of my income was coming from information about dropshipping, which meant that anytime there's a change, a lot of my income is affected by that. Whereas now, I don't rely on it. So yeah, it'd be great if people are more interested in dropshipping again, and then I can earn $1,000 or $2,000 a month again from that. But since I'm also earning money from Skillshare, it gives me more stability. Because it's separate. Like the things that affect dropshipping won't necessarily affect my Skillshare income, which is really valuable. So,
how does that feel in like consistence to productivity? You know, if you know what I mean, like you need to do something in order to feel productive, or you might feel down or depressed or something.
So I feel down and depressed if I'm not active.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have ruts where that happens, but usually the way to get out of it is to just do something anyway, like to just press record and make something. I go through like insecure phases with my content creation where I feel like I'm too aware of all the things that I should be doing better and I could improve on. And then I feel like paralyzed. And when you feel like that, because everyone does, making courses or a YouTube channel, whenever you make any kind of content, you have to really just understand that you just got to keep creating. And even if you make a video and you remake it and you remake it a couple times, like at least you're remaking it and you're going to get better, you're going to improve. But if you're not creating that content, you're not moving, and that is way worse than creating bad content. At least if you're creating what you think is bad content, you're improving. And like in my case, like my best performing course on Skillshare was the course that I considered the worst when I was making it. So, you know, who knows what's going to actually happen.
Yeah, exactly. You need to like feel progression in what you're doing, right?
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah. Man, it's like difficult to keep like the conversation rolling because I'm trying to like constantly think of something I can ask.
Oh, no, you're fine. We don't have to rush.
Yeah, I'm fine. No, okay, we don't have to rush. You're going to edit this later, or?
No, I don't really edit. Like, from my perspective, we can talk about this, and it's beneficial for you, and it's beneficial for me, because I get to learn more about somebody else who's interested in Skillshare, and there's stuff that I've learned that I can share with you. And by recording it, that means that somebody who's really interested could also watch this. I'm not trying to make like a perfect, great, amazing video. I'm just recording something that's going to happen anyway. So don't worry about like having to respond quickly or that kind of thing. Like, I don't mind if there's pauses. I'm not expecting this to be like video that gets huge, you know? It's just a conversation that I'm posting.
Yeah. Because I was just like thinking of like those podcasts I'm watching where it's like there's like no awkward silences at all, you know?
Yeah.
So you live in Nicaragua?
Yep.
How long have you been doing that?
So I came here for 2 weeks, and then I went back to the States for 1 month and quit my job and came back to Nicaragua for 9 months. And then I had some romanticized notions about what life in the States was like, and I went back to the States. And then 9 months later, I came back to Nicaragua, and now I'm pretty confident I'm just going to stay here.
Damn. So you're like fluent in Spanish?
Nope.
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 Not at all.
I mean, I was raised always being in a country where I didn't speak the language, because I didn't live in one country. I was always my parents taught for the international schools, so I went to school for free at the schools that they taught at, and so this meant that like I lived in Saudi Arabia, I lived in Africa. I was always in a country where I didn't speak the language. So for me, it's almost more comforting to not understand. Like, if I go to a grocery store and I can't understand everything that people are saying, I feel like I'm at home. I feel satisfied. But if everyone's speaking English, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
That's a little surreal.
Yeah, it's weird.
That you're like, yeah. So what do you do then if you're at a grocery store and they don't understand you? Do you just like use hand gestures?
No, I mean, I have enough Spanish that I can get by in those situations. Like, I can buy stuff. I can get anywhere via the taxis. I can have like basic conversations. I can't necessarily emotionally articulate things very well. I can understand like maybe half the conversations I hear. It depends on the context. Like, when people start talking really fast, or there's like more than 2 or 3 people talking, woof, I can't understand anything. But I'm learning.
Then you lose focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is absolutely. You also using a Blue Yeti mic?
Yeah. I love Blue Yetis.
Yeah, Blue Yetis.
What kind of mic do you use?
The same.
Nice.
Yeah, it was on the sale. So you have anything you want to ask me?
Yeah. So, how did you originally find out about Skillshare?
I think it was via your videos, man. I do.
So when did you watch one of my videos before watching Skillshare then?
I think it was like a month ago or something, and you popped up in my recommendation videos on YouTube.
Okay.
And then I just started watching them, and then I was like watching, okay. And then I came to your Skillshare videos, right? Mm-hmm. And then I thought, that's actually really interesting. Maybe I could do that. Maybe I could teach something on Skillshare and see how that is.
Oh, that's so cool. So that is music to my ears, because like I grew most of my audience by making drop shipping content about eBay. And my YouTube channel used to grow way faster. Like, it used to grow around 1,000 subs per month. And now it grows at like 200. So my growth of this YouTube channel is super stagnated because I stopped doing drop shipping. So I was starting to change that, right? So one of the things that I'm trying to do instead is make content about Skillshare. So you represent somebody who came to the channel after that transition, which is super cool, like super awesome. Because it's more relevant. My content is actually relevant to you, whereas to most of the people who dropship, me making videos about Skillshare is kind of interesting sometimes, but it's not necessarily what they want, you know? Because I just changed my subject on them, so.
Yeah, I get it. So you're more into dropshipping than Skillshare?
I used to be.
Used to be.
Yeah. I got banned on eBay, and then there's ways to keep selling on eBay, but I felt like I needed to start doing other things to establish more stability in my life. And I'm kind of lucky in the sense that I got established in the community. So now I have a lot of relationships with people who dropship, and this enables me to like be in positions where I'm consulting people. So I'm seeing what's happening now, but I'm not directly involved myself, which is way more interesting and way more amusing and way less stressful.
Yeah. So you feel more involved, and you have less of the stress, and you feel more progression.
Yeah, definitely. Because I don't really have to, like, if something happens with dropshipping, then I just get messages from people. Like, if say a particular company starts policing a certain term and banning accounts, then I get messages being like, hey, my account got banned for this reason. And then if I got 5 of them, then I'm like, okay, that's probably a real thing that's going on. And, you know, I don't have to do anything aside from just exist, and people tell me. So it's an interesting position because even if I'm not trying to be updated, I get updated anyway. And that's really kind of lucky. And I think that's one of the reasons it's so important to establish on doing calls like this, where you interact directly with other people online, because you never know what those connections can lead to in the future. And a lot of the time it boils down to like something that happened because of one call, and then that led to something else happening that was bigger, which led to something else happening that was bigger. And it's a super healthy habit to try and talk to as many different people, especially people who are interested in the same thing that you're trying to accomplish, for sure.
Yeah, of course, you're creating like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
Right, like more and more people getting involved by seeing the content. Yeah.
So what you've mentioned that your interest is in making a course in Excel, right?
Yeah. I made like one class. Yeah.
Oh, so you've already made a class?
Yeah, I made one class on Skillshare.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What was that like? I didn't realize that you'd already made one. That's awesome.
No, I made one. Like when I started to record it, it was like pretty awkward because every time I was like staring into the camera on the intro video, I was like continuously laughing. So I had to do like, okay, another one, until I finally, got through the awkward phase of the intro, and then cut the webcam just to like record what I was doing on the computer in Excel.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, it was, I think it was like more work than I thought it would be. And it felt more, I don't know, like rewarding than I also thought it would be. Mm-hmm. It yielded more like regarding like feeling productive and progressive and all that.
Yeah, I feel the same way about making stuff. Like in the beginning, maybe I have some judgments or thoughts about what it'll be, or it'll be boring, or something will go wrong, or it won't be interesting. But then when I actually sit down and do the recording, usually it's like, oh, this is pretty fun. I like this.
Yeah. It is. And you might have to do like 5-6 takes on every like video that you're doing, but still, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Because you learn from those 6 times.
Yeah. That's a policy I try and follow for course content to differentiate from my YouTube content. So in general, for a course video, I record a video, record it again, and then do it a third time, and usually keep the third recording. Sometimes like the first or second one will be better just randomly, but typically the third one's the better one. And that just systematically enables me to produce more kind of articulate video.
All right.
Whereas on YouTube, I'm much more willing to just do something in one take. And I think that's also important, because if you push yourself to become more articulate and to take your time and to not be afraid of like slowing yourself down so that you can remember what you're going to talk about next, then that becomes really useful later on, like if you're doing live streams or anything else. Whereas if you rely too much on doing loop cuts in particular, it can kind of hinder progress in some ways, even though it's making the short-term content more effective.
Yeah, of course, because you're training yourself to be better at remembering what you're going to say and be progressive that way.
Yeah, and that's
Absolutely.
super useful. Essentially,
Yeah.
if you can make video that you know is being recorded and confidently talk about something for 20 minutes without losing track of what you're talking about, then you have all the skills necessary to monetize that through a bunch of different ways. Because then you can create tutorials for other people, you can create courses, you can work with other people to create courses for them. It opens up a whole bunch of doors, because a lot of people just aren't comfortable creating video. So essentially, you just become comfortable creating video, and then you have a competitive advantage.
Yeah, of course, because it would never feel like completely natural to create a video for people that has like never done it before, right? So you have to get across that barrier, and like because once you have, then you start feeling comfortable, and then it gets easier and easier to record yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Doing the video. Yeah.
And if you feel comfortable, then the people watching are more likely to feel comfortable.
Yeah, of course, because if not, they will just feel as awkward as you are.
Yeah.
In the video, right?
So what do you think you mentioned a course about Excel, and then I think you said another subject you wanted to make a course about in the beginning?
Yeah, I would like to make a course also about Microsoft projects. Are you familiar with it?
No, I'm not.
It's like a planning program, a Microsoft planning program for planning whatever it is that you need, house construction,
so like
your progress,
like
business.
a calendar, but more to plan out the details of a specific project you're working on.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like when I was working with it for a job, then I would like, I don't know like all the English words here, but when you're like building a house, then you have the people coming in to do the foundation. Yeah, the contractors.
Yeah.
And then you like have the first contractors that's going to come in and make the foundations for the house, right? That will be like one contractor, and then they need X amount of days, weeks to do that job. And then comes the masons, the carpenters, and all the others.
Plumbers.
Plumbers. All that will like be planned out to take X amount of time. So the finished product would get a date. Your house is going to be finished in 6 months. This is the date where you're going to get the keys, right?
And then this date doubles.
Yeah, it didn't typically doubles, because like in the country where I'm at, you would be fined for doing that. Like if you go across that deadline, you have to pay the customer of the house something like $175 a day.
Whoa, that's a lot of money.
The deadline, right? So then eventually that will just be like deducted from the total sum of the house.
That's some
they
incentive.
would get discounts. Yeah.
In the U.S., if I hear the word contractor, I immediately think delays. Like expect delays.
Yeah. I think so too. Like in many countries, that is the thing, right? In U.S., Southeast Asia.
So go on.
My father works as project manager in Singapore. And he's like telling me that like how it works in Southeast Asia is that contractors will come in and bid on your project, right? Like they naturally would, at the lowest price. And after achieving the contract for being like the lowest price, they will like say, "Nah, by the way, we need double as long time and triple the money."
So it's like irrelevant.
Yeah, just undercutting everybody else to get in front of the line and then alter the conditions of the deal.
It's cutthroat.
Yeah, that's cutthroat. And I guess it's also like that in Europe, but more with government projects.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's more red tape, it is they are allowed to delay the projects more, if you know.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So yeah, that's what I worked with for like 2 years, 3 years, planning houses, calculating houses. And I think that will be like maybe the 2-3 next courses I will put up on Skillshare, like how to plan things in Microsoft projects.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like an advanced course in Excel regarding how to calculate a house or the cost of a house.
That'd be specific. That'd be if you can identify. So have you made any YouTube videos before, or published YouTube videos?
Nah, not regarding this. It's been like more YouTube videos regarding just gaming and just stupid things like that.
So you can publish individual videos to YouTube and then even have them be unlisted so they're not viewable. But then use Google AdSense to turn these videos into ads for your course. So this is a way to do advertising with the Skillshare course. Skillshare is kind of easy to advertise for because you aren't just selling your course, you're selling your course and 25,000 other courses. So people are more willing to be like, oh, I just, got to sign up for this free trial and I get this and everything else. So it's easier to get conversions in that sense. But it'd be just something to think about, is that you don't have to run a YouTube channel to benefit from creating a YouTube video about a course. You would have to practice a lot with the video to make sure that you create a video that converts well to your Skillshare course, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're paying like more than $10 a day on advertising but not getting at least one referral per day, because then you'd be losing money, right? So you'd have to practice a couple times, like probably make like 10 different videos and just do like 10 pennies per day. So in total, $1 per day for all 10 of these different videos. Do very small amounts of money pushing. And this is just so that you can get some base metrics and you can compare the different videos you've created and start to really develop a sense of what's effective and what's not effective before you start putting a bunch of money into AdSense. Because if you're not careful, it's really easy to drop like $100 when you could have just paid $2 and learned the same amount of stuff. So in the beginning, you should be really frugal, like talking about pennies per day, just the minimums that you can actually run a campaign with.
And then what happens to you? Like, will it like pop up when somebody put the name into Google, like the word into Google?
No. So these are YouTube ads. So they do show up outside of YouTube, but you basically have two choices. One is to if you've ever been watching YouTube and then while you're watching a video, you can see that there's suggested videos on the right. So some of those videos will have like yellow captioning or yellow box or yellow text or something. I don't know how it differentiates it, but those are paid ads, right? So that's the first scenario where you pay to have a video show up in that suggested thing on the right, and then you actually pay if somebody clicks on it. So they can see it, but unless they engage with it, you don't pay anything. Then also you have the option of having a video that's a traditional ad. So that means that while somebody is watching another YouTube video or in between watching the next YouTube video, your video starts to play and then they have to watch it for 5 seconds. After that, they can click skip ad. So those first 5 seconds are really important. That's why you have to be a bit careful with ads. It's almost better to not have an intro in some ads, just because you have 5 seconds for the person to at least know your name or what you're doing or something, because then even if they don't cross through and purchase the product, they at least know who you are, right? So you have to think a lot about that. Whereas with the other format, the thumbnail is just showing up and then the person has to click on it. So in that situation, if the person actually clicks on the video, chances are it's because they're more interested in what you're actually talking about. Whereas when you're talking about the other format of ad, that really like most of the time people aren't going to be as responsive because it's being forced on them a little bit. So you're going to find that there's more dislikes, more negative comments and that kind of thing. And that's just kind of how it is. They're still both beneficial. I usually use the one that just shows a video on the side.
Yeah, that seems to be like the most return on investment to have that, because then people won't just like it won't be forced down to people the same way.
Yeah. It depends what you're trying to do. Like, you know, people like Ty Lopez got rich off of forcing themselves onto other people with money. So.
Yeah, Ty Lopez. Is that the guy, the knowledge guy?
Maybe. Yeah, he did a video where he's like holding it over his phone up like this in his garage, and he's talking about like he's a big bookcase and then like some cars and stuff.
Yeah,
and he paid like $1 million to push that video, and it led to like a course that was like $60 or $100, something like that. And so he made like tons of money off of that.
Wow, by just pushing his product onto other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why like he's super well known, but then like a lot of people talk shit about Ty Lopez because he's well known for being an advertiser and a marketer, and people just are a bit more mistrusting of this kinds of people.
Yeah, because he burned hot, but also fast, right?
Yeah. I have no idea. I don't know what he's currently doing.
No, I mean, this is and you also like market your content on your YouTube videos regarding the link with 2 months of free premium subscription.
And so I learned something super interesting recently, because basically what I'm trying to do is identify, I can make an individual video, and if it successfully monetizes a Skillshare referral link, then I can pay Google to put traffic into it, as long as I'm getting more money than I'm paying Google. But theoretically, as long as it converts well, then you can pay Google like $200 a day to push your videos, like $1,000 a day. You can pay them a lot of money. So the potential for that income to scale up is quite fascinating from that perspective, because you can have one video that you focus a lot on, and maybe you put like 2 hours total into creating the video, whatever. And then if you market it effectively, that one video can lead to income from Skillshare. So you don't necessarily even need to have a YouTube audience, as long as you make a video that converts effectively, which can be quite tricky. Because essentially you have to supply very useful information while also having the person still want to sign up for the service. And so I had like 12 videos about Skillshare, right? And I was getting 5 to 7 referrals per day. And I thought that these referrals were coming from a combination of all these different videos. But then I had to take one of the videos down, because I got a message from Skillshare saying that they didn't really like the perspective that I talked about in the Skillshare video, because I made it too easy to kind of abuse the free year of Skillshare by not talking about that you need to have 30 minutes and some other things. So I had to take that video down. And as soon as I took that video down, every single referral that I was getting dried up. So
was that a YouTube video?
Yeah, it was a YouTube video. And so what was super interesting about this event is that I thought all of the videos I had made were each contributing a little bit to getting me these referrals. In reality, I had made one video that was getting me all of those referrals. And so I reached out to Skillshare and asked, okay, is it possible I can remake this video? And they gave me permission to remake it, so I remade it and I submitted it to them, and they actually like reviewed it and approved it and gave me the permission to publish it, which is super amazing because I'm not used to being able to work directly with a platform like that. Like with eBay, I was never able to communicate with eBay about if something in a video was okay or not. They weren't fucking watching my videos. But with Skillshare, there is a person in their team who will take the time to work with you if you're creating content about Skillshare to make sure that it follows their guidelines. And that's super, super useful because now I don't have to worry about the video getting taken down because I worked with Skillshare to create the video, right? Yeah. So that's super exciting. So I just got permission to post that last night, and I posted it like 8 or 9 hours ago, and there's been 5 referrals since posting that video. So it seems to be working. But
yeah, that's the how to get Skillshare classes for free for a year.
Exactly, yeah. Right. And that's the lesson of this situation, is that if you can give people something of value that inspires them enough to then follow through and use your link or buy your product, you can market things very effectively. People are very hesitant with marketing, and they can tell if you're trying to sell them something or you're holding information from them. So that's why it's really important to focus on this concept of supplying useful information, something that they can do that usually is free, ideally, that enables them to do something else that they want. For example, there was a video I did recently on eBay, and it's just how to use it shows like every problem that can happen in a customer service situation, and then it's just a flow chart, and you go down and you know how to respond to it. It's like makes it super easy to understand, right? So you can produce something that's very useful to people and publish it for free, and then as long as you just have some way to monetize the traffic after they're interested, then that can work really effectively.
Yeah. All right. So you need to get the word out somehow, right? But with these videos with YouTube, you have to ask Skillshare for permission to like post a YouTube video about it.
You don't have to ask them, but if you don't, then it's possible that you could say something that Skillshare doesn't like, and you could get in trouble. And if you get in trouble 3 times, then you lose your Skillshare account. So it's in your best interest to work with Skillshare so that you don't have to worry about that even happening in the first place. Like right now, if Skillshare tells me to take this video down, I can show an email saying the sentence, "I am happy to say that this revision of this video has been approved for publishing." Like, that's pretty easy to argue, right? Like, that's definitely very clear that I have permission to post the video. And it also means that, like, it doesn't really limit you that much. It's more about just learning the language that Skillshare wants you to use when you're talking about their platform. They really don't like it if you are, like, say that I was trying to push a bunch of people to Skillshare and I had a huge following and I was saying, oh, you can earn all this money, it's going to be great, you're going to fix everything, you're going to earn tons of money, then they wouldn't like that, even if I wasn't saying anything inaccurate. They don't like it if you place an emphasis on earning money. They like it when you place an emphasis on learning and like sharing your passions and this kind of thing.
Yeah, you mentioned in one of your videos that it got taken down or banned because you used the word money in the title.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the title was How to Use YouTube to Earn Money Doing What You Love, which I feel like is like, that's an accurate title, but you know, I had to change it.
Sounds legitimate. How to use YouTube and earn money doing it. Yeah.
And it is interesting because at first I thought, I was like, man, you can't make courses about earning money. That sucks. But that isn't true. It's just you have to be careful how you talk about it. What Skillshare wants is they want you to indirectly teach people how to earn money by teaching them a skill that they can then use to earn money. But you're not teaching them from the earn money perspective. You're teaching them from this is exactly what you need to do. And then they are free to go and be like, well, I'm going to do that and earn money. That's fine. That's cool. That's great. But I didn't tell you that in that way.
Yeah, it's a bit contradictional from their side.
Yeah. And I understand why, because Skillshare is pretty good at identifying people who are abusing students to just maximize enrollments and income. And there is corruption in the online course industry in that sense. There are a lot of people who, like, yeah, they are teaching you something and they're giving information that's valuable, but it's not worth anywhere near as much money as they're charging for it. And most of the people who they pay who pay for it aren't going to actually earn that much money back. So like that's a very real situation. Like if you drop $1,000 on a course, 10 grand on a course, that people are doing this. There are instructors out there who rely on this business model. You actually get contacted by these people when you start creating courses on Udemy or on Skillshare. You'll get messages and emails being like, "Oh, hey, I've seen your great, amazing course on this platform, and I'd like you to know that we have a great, huge audience over here, and we're willing to work with you to charge way more for your course and sell it for $400 a pop." And like, you get a taste of that scene once you start having a product that gets noticed. And so there are going to be people who try and, like, they know how to advertise things, so they're going to try and sell your product for way more than you're selling it for. And that is a big part of the course scene, and Skillshare is very aware of this. So I believe that's why they're so picky about the way that you communicate about money. They really want to make sure that you are not taking advantage of students, and that your content is specifically to learn, not to direct somewhere else.
So they're very on about that your product is not to monetize yourself, but to learn something out to other people.
Yeah, and they're okay with you showing how you can use something to earn money. You just can't make that the focus. The focus has to be how to learn the skill. And by the way, this is how you would earn money from it, if that makes sense.
Right, so you would be like, feel free to make, like, for instance, I could make an Excel video, right? And then at the end of it state that, like, this is how you can make money on it by consulting this or freelance these services away.
Yeah, and you could even show how to do the consulting, how to do the freelancing. You could show all that. You just can't say, you can expect X dollars per when you do this. You can't make any kind of statement that would make the student's experience untrue. Because most of the time, the student isn't actually going to earn money. So you can't ever say that, oh, you will be earning this much money if you do this. Like, you can't use those kind of words, but you can still show everything. You can show all the steps.
Yeah. So you're, like, free to, advertise for, like, web pages that you could do these consulting services, how you could earn that money on those, right? But you're not allowed to, like, say or lure people in by saying you would earn like $10,000 a month by doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's both frustrating, but also like what makes Skillshare kind of unique. And I see now how they're quite aware of, like, the marketplace, I think, because from my perspective, they're the most competitive course marketplace for a student, not for an instructor, because instructors don't earn as much money on Skillshare. But for the student's perspective, like, you purchase one Udemy course, a cheap Udemy course, like a $10 Udemy course, $20 Udemy course, that's 30 days of every course on Skillshare that you could have consumed in 30 days, which is obviously way more information than one course on Udemy. And I think it's really beneficial also from an instructor's perspective, because I am free to study all of the courses that are available. I can take every competitor's course that exists on the platform for no extra cost. Whereas on Udemy, if I want to take competitor courses, I have to pay for them, or I have to reach out to people. I have to get that information. So it puts me in a position where I'm able to learn much more effectively and way more cheap. Because, like, if you're buying one Udemy course every month, that's the same as, taking 10 Skillshare courses. It's...
Yeah, so again, your ROI on Skillshare is greater for both student and teacher on Skillshare than on Udemy.
Well, I don't want to come off as saying that it's always better for instructors, because, like, for me, because I can earn money through the referral program, I can earn well on Skillshare. But if you don't have that ability, like you don't have a YouTube audience or you're not doing any kind of marketing, then you have to rely on the income from revenue or from royalties. And so you get paid roughly 5 cents per minute that somebody consumes your content. And like in my case, my biggest payment so far has been like $55. So my biggest referral payment was $1,000. So as an instructor, like if you're on Udemy, you can have one sale for a course, and if you want it to be $50, you can get all of that money. If you opt out of Udemy marketing, you have a lot of flexibility in that sense. Same sense thing with Teachables. So for a lot of the really professional course instructors who like systematically identify a subject, make a course, make it like a grand, market it, do webinars, do all that's the lifestyle they live, that's their workflow. Skillshare isn't a good option for them because they're used to earning so much more money per sale. So to them, having their course on Skillshare isn't worth it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because Skillshare doesn't, you get paid 5 cents per minute. You get paid when people are consuming your content, and you have to get like a lot of momentum to start earning some really good money. Like to earn $1,000 from a month from royalties, right? Like in my case, I would have to earn 20 times as much as I'm currently earning. And my biggest course has like 53 students, right? So 20 times that would mean I'd need about $1,000, 1,000 students in a course to be earning $1,000 a month, roughly, rough estimate. Whereas on Udemy, like you could earn that with 100 students, or depending on your pricing, 5 students or 2 students. Like there are teachable courses that sell for $1,000 in one sale, right? So for these reasons, a lot of instructors aren't that interested in Skillshare. But from my perspective, it's the best platform because it's in the position that will reach the most people, I think. Because even if you're in a third world country or somewhere else, like $15 a month is a lot of money, but that's an affordable amount of money for the kind of information you can access that you could then use to earn money doing other things. So I think that future-wise, Skillshare is in a position where it's more likely to reach huge quantities of people than a platform like Udemy, just because on Udemy you have to pay for every single iteration, whereas on Skillshare you don't. And they have a crazy good referral system, which means that the incentive for people to talk about Skillshare is there. So
yeah, so in the long run, Skillshare might become like the bigger one of the yeah.
But obviously, who knows what's going to happen? You know, Udemy's big; it's huge. So, like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. How is the service on like professional feedback from these free pages? Like, can you send like a mail and expect a professional response from all free sites regarding your content, advices, etc.?
What do you mean? I'm a little bit confused.
You know, like if you were to send a mail to, for instance, Skillshare, because they continue to send you mails, right, regarding advices on how to grow your bases, yeah. But can you like send them a mail directly and ask for like a feedback directly from?
So you can. Skillshare can see everything in your account. So say that you have a course that you've created, but you haven't published it yet. You can email Skillshare, help@skillshare.com, and specifically ask them to review a part of the course. So if you say something like, hey, can you look at my whole course to see if it's okay? Maybe they just look at the titles, or they just look at the introduction video, and then they look for any glaring problem, but they don't watch everything. But if you say, hey, I'm worried about this specific video, the way I talk about this. Is this okay with you guys? They will answer that directly. And in my case, I've had 5 times where I've communicated with the support team, and 4 of the times it was the same person that I talked to. So that's really important, because anytime that you have the opportunity to develop any form of recognition or remembrance, or like just like a dynamic a little bit with an individual versus talking to a different rep every time, it's a completely different experience. And like I said, for my video, like they watch the video enough to be willing to send me an email saying that I have permission to to repost the revised version of the video. Like, I don't think I could get Udemy to do that. Like, I don't think, like, eBay definitely never ever reached out to me in any way regarding any of my videos, despite the fact that some of the videos can be used to, like, make stealth accounts and, like, things that eBay probably shouldn't want the information to be there. I would be happy to take it down if they messaged me, but, like, you know, that they don't communicate that way. It's not a thing.
Right. So again, Skillshare bests them on being best on customer support.
Sort of, yeah. For when they actually respond, then yeah, I think so. But it will take like 2 to 4 days for them to respond sometimes. So that's important to understand. Like, I usually don't expect a response until the 3rd day. Like in this case, I sent the email out on Sunday. So timer starts Monday, Tuesday, and I got a response on Wednesday, right? No, yesterday. So it was 4 days. But in this case, they might take a bit longer because they had to watch a whole video. Whereas if you had like a specific question about something they can answer quickly, maybe they answer it sooner. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't seem like there is much bad to say about Skillshare, except for the thing that they don't like you for like monetizing specifically.
Yeah.
Things on how to make money.
As long as you avoid the little nitty-gritty bits, then it's a pretty good experience.
Yeah. So could you, for instance, like make videos about drop shipping on Skillshare?
No, drop shipping is a banned subject.
That's a banned subject, yeah.
Yeah.
There's only...
no, it's a banned subject specifically. It's not because you can't make it, like, make videos about dropshipping because it earns money. It's banned because specifically in the terms of and conditions on Skillshare, it states that you cannot create videos about dropshipping. Like in that exact word, it says it exactly. And also about MLM, which is multi-level marketing. So that's when you're like pushing a product that's not useful to people, and you're convincing them it's useful to them, and you're getting them to sell it to other people or buy large quantities of it. And the idea is to earn money off the growth when no individual is really actually earning money from it.
So both dropshipping and MLM is banned on Skillshare.
Yeah. It makes more sense that MLM is banned because multi-level marketing is literally like scamming people into thinking something is an opportunity so that they pay you for it, and then it's not really an opportunity. Like, that's what most MLM is. So like, if, for example, you would have a health product. Say I have this like green powder, cures cancer. No, it doesn't cure cancer, but it helps you. It makes things better, right? You make some outrageous claim like this, and then I got like 1,000 of these green powder things. I bet you could sell them super easy, you know? Like that vibe, that's the MLM vibe. Like trying to get people to purchase large amounts of inventory or some kind of product, and then you get commission on that purchase. So it's like, it's understandable that Skillshare doesn't want people to be teaching how to do that because it's kind of immoral.
Well, then what about dropshipping? Because isn't dropshipping just essentially you selling a product that you don't keep in stock?
Yeah.
Is that just ordered from China or something to be shipped out?
I don't know why exactly. Like, dropshipping does have a sketchy reputation, and that's just kind of part of how it is, because a lot of the people who dropship are internationals. They don't really show their faces. They just make new accounts. They don't really care if something goes wrong. So there's a lot of reasons that people are a bit sketched out by dropshipping. Like, there's a lot of people who sell physically and are judgmental of dropshippers. However, in reality, dropshipping is just a business mechanism. It's just when you ship something to an address. That's it, really. If like you ship something to an address and it's not your address, you drop shipped something. So
how do you know that it's not drop shipping if you, for instance, order a $10 t-shirt from eBay where it says like location China?
Yeah, it
is drop shipping. Yeah. Right? So there's like no way for you to know that it is drop shipping or not.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't completely understand why they've banned it specifically, but I think it has to do with that they don't want, like, with that kind of business model, it's really easy to be like, okay, yeah, this drop shipping thing is a thing. Just buy my course. It's $100. Teaches you how to drop ship. You'll be earning $1,000 a month. Like, they don't like that. And there's a lot of drop shipping courses that are designed that way. So maybe Skillshare has been exposed to a lot of this that's online. Like, it's important to understand that Skillshare's been around for a while, and they've gone through a lot of different, like, kind of modifications to the way that their platform works over the years. Like, it essentially started off as a little platform that just had, like, well-known people create courses. And, like, now other random people can create courses on it, but in the beginning it wasn't like that. Only, like, well-known people that Skillshare invited could make courses.
How long has it been around, do you know?
Over 10 years. I can
Over 10 years.
Check real quick. Skillshare history. Wikipedia. I love Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's a great site.
Where was it founded? Oh no, it was founded in 2010. So 8 years, 9 years, I guess.
Yeah, but still, it's been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did they start allowing? I'm trying to see when they started allowing anybody to become a course instructor. Oh, in 2014.
Okay, so how was...
In 2014, they moved to a membership model. So it wasn't membership before then. And in 2014, they made it $10 a month and opened it up later in the year so that anybody could become an instructor. And that was in 2014, so about 5 years ago. Also 4 years after it was published. Prior to that, oh, okay. So in the first 2 years, they had 15 courses. And
in
then,
total?
Yeah. And then in 3 years, I had 250 courses. A lot of these were Skillshare courses, so they worked with famous people, instructors, to establish these courses. And most of them are on, like, art, photography, illustration, that kind of thing.
All right.
And you had to pay for each course at that point.
Yeah. So at that point, it was like Udemy.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Man, I'm sorry, man. I gotta cut this short and leave now.
Hey, man, we just talked for an hour. It's not really short. It's all good.
It's not okay. It's already an hour.
Yeah.
Damn. Can I like give you my my Skillshare link or anything like that on?
Yeah, sure. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll just give it to you on.
I'll
Discord.
put it in the video too.
Yeah, nice, man. Thank you for the interview. It was really nice.
Yeah, it's cool to get to know you a bit better. I'm always happy to talk to more people who are interested in Skillshare.
All right. And just message me anytime if you want to make like another video or whatever.
Sounds good.
All right. Later, homie.
Ciao.